Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course. I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
If you're not coming of age after this movie, then I don't know what other film.
I'm coming to something.
We'll bring it out of you, yeah, man. I'm a full-fledged adult after this bad boy.
You know what's a fun fact that I just realized when labeling this? This is episode 69.
Oh, no way!
And that couldn't be
more
appropriate.
Oh, wait. Nice.
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 This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. That's Jordan over there. And this is Levi over here.
69ing myself over here, buddy.
I was going to say, if you're not watching the video, you can't prove that we're not 69ing.
I wish.
We're
We're
going to
so
record
far
the
away
whole,
from each
record
other.
the whole. I know. I wish.
Oh,
I wish we were that close. See, now I feel like my levels are too loud. All right. Here
We're
we go.
1,000 miles away. Oh, are you feeling good? You blowing out over there?
Not even 1,000 miles. How far away are we?
It's about 1,000. It's like
I guess you would know. You drive. You make that drive way more.
I mean, I say that now with confidence. I'm pretty sure because I think from like L.A. to Utah. Now I'm tripping out, man. I don't know. Because from Sacramento to Utah, it's like 800 exactly. And so I think
we're not gonna save us a Google search if you listen to this. Go onto the Reddit. Tell us how many miles it is between.
This isn't a geography
to Salt Lake City.
It's not a geography podcast, people. We're talking hardcore film.
So if you're wondering why we were talking all erotic there at the beginning and saying how 69 was a perfect thing, so this month has been summer movie month. We're getting all sweaty and hot with this weather, watching these summer movies, and I think I almost wish I was in like high school or something because summer doesn't have the impact it used to. But I feel like school just got out, like a couple weeks ago. And then there's all these movies that are happening that are about like the summer starting and like summer vacation and stuff like that, or at least they feel that way, right? With our previous movies, Stand By Me. What was the last one we watched? Losing my mind. But anyway, this one.
Wet Hot American Summer.
That's right. This is the last day of summer. But so this one definitely feels like it too. We're talking about. I'm putting it off saying it because I'm gonna fucking butcher it because I'm so white. So many times.
It's super easy.
It is. It's Tu Mamá También is what what we watched. Which in advance, I feel like I probably will butcher a lot of stuff. Anytime I try to read anything, like any actors' names, will probably be butchered. But please, to all my Spanish speaking friends out there, please forgive me.
Pablo mainly.
Fuck Pablo.
Did he even watch this movie?
Of course not.
Oh my God, Pablo! You said you were gonna.
I know.
You promised.
I know this is the rip on Pablo moment, but that would require him to watch a movie he's never seen before, and that's just asking too much.
Oh, that's scary. I get it, bud.
Nah, he might watch it eventually. He does that though. He'll like watch it months after we do a podcast, and then he'll go on the Reddit and be like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "You're a little late there, bud."
Yeah.
Thanks though.
I know we do it real time, baby. You got to come on the pod.
Yeah.
Next time, we'll most likely do another Alfonso Cuarón film again.
We will eventually, or I mean, we could bring him on next time we do like another Guillermo del Toro because that's like his favorite director probably.
That right, and they've worked together. Or no, they did. Never mind. It's one of the actors from this movie was in Kronos, but
was he?
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna read a synopsis. I'm a bad boy and I did not write a synopsis, so I'll read one, and if that doesn't work, I'll just explain it to you. Okay. So for everyone out there who's not seen this, which is probably most of you, Tu Mamá También is the synopsis is: in Mexico, two teenage boys and an attractive older woman embark on a road trip and learn a thing or two about life, friendship, sex, and each other.
You read that? Yeah, that's like the first one that pops up.
Yeah,
it is.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's a low effort synopsis. Whoever wrote that one, I guess that's right. We used to talk about that all the time because before we started writing the synopsis, we would just read ones on.
And there's some bad
ones.
There's
IMDb.
Because we can cut the difference. Sometimes they're pretty. Some of our synopsis get pretty wordy.
Oh, I know, yeah.
But a lot of times I feel like we can sum it up pretty concisely. So it's like this one's doing them dirty. Yeah, these two horny teenage boys. They're friends. I'm trying to remember the names. It's like Tanakh and Julio, right?
Yeah.
Did I remember off the top of my head?
That so this film.
Yeah, Julio and Tanakh. Yeah, they
was a lot to like. It took me a good like 30 minutes to get the hang of it.
Yeah.
Because it is an information dump, and it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. How
it's
they
dense.
Do that. But yeah.
And I feel like they do her dirty. So these guys are like 18, right? 19. They're pretty young.
Right. I think right. Did they?
I think
just
they're buying.
Graduate.
Yeah, they're buying beer and
high
stuff.
school?
I think they're definitely like
That's right.
20 at the oldest.
No. I think they did. I think they just graduated because that's the whole thing. Their girlfriends were going backpacking in Europe.
Yeah.
Before college. I
think that's what it is too.
Right.
Because again, it did take me just a sec too. So the beginning, some of the intricacies at the very beginning may be lost on me there, but I feel like they do her dirty because Louisa, the main female character, they say an older woman. She's like 29 or something. Like
no, dude, right, exactly. Yeah, she's 30, if that, and and it's like an older woman to be like, I get, yeah, technically yes,
technically
that
old,
is correct.
She is probably 10 years their senior.
Right. But it's like, I don't know, but it is wild. But no, I swear to God, she does mention her age in there, but
I feel like she does
like
too.
28. Or
it literally
wild.
is like not even
like
30.
Yeah, right. I remember kind of being silly. I think that might be a translation issue because when I was texting Travis about this movie, and he actually knows. I'm bummed. I tried to get him on the pod, but he was all like, he was a little pod shy, you know. And
everyone's pod shy.
I don't blame him at all, and it was way too late notice or anything. I'm not putting you on the spot, Travis. But anyhow, he was telling me that like the translation for this movie is kind of lame. It kind of doesn't fit. There's a lot more that you're missing out on.
Oh, because does he speak Spanish then?
He does, yeah, and he speaks Spanish, and it's funny. He's been all over. He like knows the road trip that they took.
Oh, really?
He's been to like the restaurants that they go to, and like
that's cool.
He knows like everything there. Like it's like he's like lived it, walked those streets, and I'm like, God, that
cool.
Context is so dope. Yeah.
Well, that's why I want to get that perspective, just because it's like I do feel like this movie, like a lot of foreign films, obviously, I feel like I'm missing a lot that's going on, especially with like more naturalistic style dialogue. And I know this movie, like I'm watching it and I'm seeing them talking like all at once, and you're not getting everything. It's a struggle, but it's like even so, it's like it translated over pretty well because it all seemed natural. Like the dynamic between the whole crew or the three main characters are fantastic.
It's electric, man. And they like I love like the carefree intimacy and like how comfortable they were around each other, but then like their vulnerabilities, it's great. But dude, know what's cool? All three of these movies that we've watched for summer, and I don't know about the last film that we're gonna watch this month, but for these things, the theme is like behind the scenes togetherness. Like every film, they were like together for a really long time, and so all of the interactions feel so natural and so comfortable because they were either lifelong friends like these two that Diego Luna, and then I don't even know, like, is it Gale Garcia?
I think that's exactly how it's pronounced.
We'll go with that one, and which they're great too. But they were like childhood friends. Like both their parents worked in theater, and they've known each other forever.
Well, they would have to be because they literally.
Yeah.
They're incredible actors. Regardless, but the amount of times that they're basically touch wieners together, they have to be lifelong friends.
No, the amount of times that they're okay, but it's kind of interesting to watch this movie and kind of be reminded of like how how the duality between like their homophobia and their like rampant like homoeroticism.
Yeah, well,
like,
and it's like,
and how that was for like me growing up almost. You
Yeah,
know, like not like
yeah.
like all my friends were like, you know, dicks were out. It's like kind of like that thing you just like
it's true.
a party would get
but
wild.
then they're like,
But
1 minute they're like
they take it a
talking
step
smack,
farther.
calling each other queer or whatever, and then the next minute they're like, oh, our one good friend is queer now, and it's totally good for him, you know, and like it's weird like that, like but it obviously becomes more of that later. Like at first, they definitely have this adolescent, juvenile behavior. Like we're a couple of wacky kids, just smoking weed and jerking off in the pool. You know, I did.
Yeah, no, and that
I did get I gotta say. So I was disappointed. Well, I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't surprised at all that kids did not win the poll. But I do feel like I kind of got my Larry Clark fix with this.
dude.
Like,
100%.
I definitely got some Larry Clark vibes if Larry Clark could tell like a more intimate story. Not intimate,
Yeah.
but like, you know
No,
what
no,
I mean? Like more of a vulnerable, heartfelt story. Because this movie is like pretty brutal.
But it has a happy. It has like a. It's like a melancholic ending.
Yeah, it's bittersweet, for sure.
Bittersweet. Yeah, you're like it's definitely. I would consider it like a happy ending, and it's like this trip was like a memory that will stay with them forever, and it was definitely like that coming of age. It was definitely an experience that had them like.
You had the high
kind of
moments that they'll always
find
remember.
themselves.
That they'll probably remember the high moments more, but it was also like kind of the nail in the coffin for their friendship, which is kind of sad. And then like, so they go on the whole trip. You know, they're going around. The whole trip is like a sham, and then the Louisa, she goes with them, and because she just found out her husband was cheating on her. But then at the end of the movie, you find out that she has cancer. Spoiler. And she died, and that
took my breath away, dude. I was so like, I just like, it's such a throwaway
Yeah.
conversation with that like narration and everything.
It's
And, like,
casual, and then you're like,
dude,
he's like,
oh.
oh, I didn't know. Oh shit, you know.
Yeah.
And but then like you look back on it, and I was looking at her decision makings earlier on too, and being like, you know, obviously she's like crying all the time when she's not with them, and she's constantly like distracting herself with them and with sex and all this. And you think it's because of like her relationship falling apart, but now looking back on it, you realize that she's fucking dying of cancer and she knows it.
Right.
And it
She
puts
knows
it
it,
puts it in a total different context the whole time, because there's even the narration was even like she couldn't sleep because she was afraid, but like not of them, and you're like, oh, like what, just afraid of like her future or what? And then you're like, oh, it's because she knows she's like terminally ill.
Yeah.
Afraid of
And,
what
like,
she's facing, and I don't know. It puts a lot of her like her decisions and her character, like it gives her character like incredible depth. Like her character, all the characters are already very deep, but
yeah. I think that's the layer to give this whole story more context.
yeah,
it's
not a twist,
scene,
but you're like, oh shit. You know?
yeah, right. The scene though, it gives so much more weight to the like road stop scene when she finds that little doll that's named after her. She's like, oh, Louisa, that's my name too. And you know, and they give her the doll and everything, and it's like that child died too.
Yeah.
As you know, as young, and like, and so
That-
it's like you didn't realize, it's like that's sad. You're like, oh, that's sad, but it's kind of just like it's a passing trip on their journey of sorrow, and then like,
Well,
you find out later that it's like she's dying too.
It's
and just
interesting.
So much more emotional.
I know I want to watch it again because it's like
Yeah.
my looking back on it now, it's like very much like these two dualities of like these two kids. They seem like the world, the last thing on their mind is their mortality. They are invincible. They're young. They have their whole futures ahead of them. They're crazy and dumb, and they're just on this adventure with no consequences. Blah 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 blah. But this whole time, you're not really realizing that it's like Louisa's facing her own mortality as much. Like there are hints of it, like you said, with finding the doll, finding about that girl's death and things like that, and like talking about like the random narrations that will pop up and be like, that if they were on this road 10 years ago, there's like all the there's like all the things on the side of the road,
that memorial,
the of the car accident. Like there's all these weird hints
Yeah.
of like mortality, and then you realize it's like she's the exact opposite. She is facing her mortality and her life's coming to an end, and she felt like she never got to be free because like when they talk about that survey that she takes, where it's just like she didn't seize her life and her freedom, and so she's trying to make it what it is and trying to do what she can. It's really great. Like,
dude, it's so
I really
strong.
like
it's
this
so
movie.
solid. Like I was blown away, and so it's funny because I thought like, okay, I know this movie will be like it has to be good because it's clearly like it's written and directed by, you know, one of the strongest directors I can think of in modern times.
I didn't think he was like a one hit wonder per se, but I was like Gravity was fine. I think that's my least favorite film of his I've seen. You know,
Same.
Harry Potter is Harry Potter, but it's the best Harry Potter, you know, kind of, and it's like a lot of widely viewed as one of the best ones. Children of Men is a fucking masterpiece.
That's where it goes. It's like Children of Men, and then I haven't seen
Roma
yet.
Roma is really good too.
I'm gonna see it
more.
because
this is my second favorite.
He said, "Okay, that's dope. That's dope." Because I was listening to an interview, and he was talking about how going from it was like because of Roma, and then he was talking about his past films, and like in like Roma is basically just the like it's the sophomore version of, you know, Tu Mamá También. It's like that is his film that he wanted to make as an adult. So it's like making it as children, and then Roma, you're an adult now.
That makes sense.
So it's like they're their exact same like soul.
Roma is much more of like a steady hand, and you could see it. But I kind of miss because I feel like watching this, I forgot like some of the parts I love. Like one of the best things about Children of Men, which everything about that movie is so good, but one of my favorite things about Children of Men is like the world building and the environmental storytelling, where like they'll be filming something and then the characters will keep going off camera, or the camera will just scoot off, and it'll go for like almost a full minute just into the scene, into the environment. It'll follow some random character, or it'll go down a hall seeing photos, and Children of Men does that a lot, and I loved it because it really like builds the world, builds the fiction. But this movie did that a lot too, which God, I really love, because it'll just be like pander around their house. It'll just like follow, like they're at the restaurant and it just like leaves their table and like wanders into the kitchen, and there's like the family cooking back there.
Well, dude, this was definitely a movie that like on top of that
style.
I love that style, and this I feel like this is a film that kind of like did it I mean, like Children of Men did it fantastic as well. Anytime like, and it's Emmanuel Lubezki, maybe?
See the cinematographer?
He's the cinematographer, and so when he works with, you know, Alfonso, it's like they work together, they mesh together so well because he's done so many of his movies.
Did he shoot Roma?
Like, I don't know.
Because Roma has a very different visual style, in my opinion. Like it's much more steady. But that black and white cinematography is like some of the best black and white cinematography I've seen in recent years. Like,
cinematographer, he did Birdman too. I didn't. Oh, yeah, that's great.
That makes sense because the Birdman, the fluid Birdman cinematography.
It's amazing.
Go listen to our Birdman episode.
Go listen to our Children of Men episode.
That's an older one though.
That's right.
That's like episode 5 or something.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is episode.
It's a little rough.
69, baby.
Hell yeah. No, I don't think he did Roma. It's not.
It seems way different, but not just in a different way. It's not bad, but I like this style of filmmaking because it.
Well,
I don't know.
It definitely is that. It's the steady cam, but God, I felt so. It's the perfect amount. It doesn't feel.
I felt like I took a trip
and shaky.
I took a trip to Mexico in the early 2000s. Like I felt like I was there. I was living in their environment, in their world. And I think a lot of times that's just as important to a story than like focusing on the characters 100% of the time. Like it's like very much like this is their surrounding and they exist in this real place. Like it just makes it feel so much more raw and so much more human. And it would just float along and show family photos for a sec, you know, and you'd just be like, that's just like showing kind of like how real they are, and they were children and like they've always known each other.
On the topic of cinematography, his car scenes, Alfonso Cuarón does the greatest car scenes ever.
I don't understand how, dude.
I can't think of a better movie that takes place
Black Magic
in a car. Everybody out there in the world, please, you know, coldeststoneofknowledge@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know. Come on the Reddit. Post it. What movie do you think has decent car scenes? This is the greatest. I don't know what lens they use. It's like the lens doesn't feel like super anamorphic or like super like fisheye.
It's not like so wide, but it captures everything fully. It's not claustrophobic in a way that's.
Does he like weld two cars together and then rip one of the walls off of the car and then shoots next to it or something?
He's got to have like a massive trailer or something, but it's like it feels detached. Like the car is definitely driving. I don't know. I need to know.
Yeah.
Because obviously, Children of Men, he's got like a whole rig built on the car,
On the car, like and Children of Men like makes sense because that was like whatever $100 million movie.
Yeah.
But this is like under $2 million to shoot this movie, and it like the scope of it is so huge. I'm just like, I'm blown away. It's beautiful. Like it's weird how it's like I was thinking about it the whole time. At the beginning, you really. Even in the car, you don't really get close-ups.
No, not really.
He doesn't really do.
It's like
he doesn't do extreme close-ups.
Well, it's an
at all.
ensemble movie.
But
it's hard to say. There's no main character. You know what I mean? It's like they're
right,
all...
exactly. But you feel like, I feel the intimacy so strongly in his movies. Yeah. And it's body language and like
It is. It's got a certain camaraderie and it felt summery. Everyone's all sweating in the car. And it's hot. And
yeah, and taking road trips do feel. Going on a trip feels so. I guess it's just because like when summer happens in America, you just get time off and you usually go on a trip or you can go. You got more free time to kind of ramble around and not have to worry about.
Yeah. I wish we could have done
deadline
that.
or anything.
Some people may know we made a road trip movie, sort of.
I know, dude. We're gonna do it one day.
We did.
No, I'm saying we're gonna make it a movie that we do on the podcast one day.
One day. No, we just gotta make it a special, so it's not so much of a circle jerk.
Oh, true.
Even though we're probably more critical of it than not, but
yeah, that's right.
But it's funny, but you saying that, I'm just like, us filming our road trip movie, like it's so hard to film that. Like we spent a day trying to figure out how to mount a camera to a car, like to make it look good. It's so hard.
No, and it's wild too. Because I'm just like, how does he do it? I'm like thinking about. Every other movie I've watched inside, like fucking Speed takes place in like a vehicle like 90% of the movie, and even that is like, it's shot okay. You have good space, but it doesn't feel like
There's a clear,
how he moves.
Yeah,
he moves around like the camera doesn't even exist.
Well, most movies there's a clear difference between the interior shots and the exterior shots. Like. Yeah. Here's the B team shooting the exterior shots, and then here's the A team shooting like we're mounted on a trailer. Here's your close up. Here's your 2-shot, whatever. This movie, it's just they're all in the shot. It's the whole car. It's inside, half outside. Half the frame is the sky. It peels off when they stop and just starts moving again. Like I don't get it.
and it comes inside the car and like. It'll be in the car. It'll just float in the car for a long time and like float around. It's great. I can talk about just shooting inside of a car.
Can we talk about the writing? I was really like surprised to find out that this was an original screenplay.
Dude, I love it. Yeah, him and his brother wrote it.
I looked at it afterwards and it blew my mind because not only do I just hope him and his brother were jerking off on the diving boards at a local pool, but and they're like, remember that time.
Where'd that inspiration come from?
Exactly. But it's just like the way those bits of narration would come in from like the narrator. It would just kind of like the audio would cut out. The narration would come in. Sometimes it would have it wouldn't have a direct thing, but it would it's just like these small snippets of like, they didn't know this or this happened to this. And it felt very novel, like adapted from a book that I would have these details. Because that's not really a screenplay move. That's a book move, I feel like. And so I thought for sure this was an adaptation of a book. Like for sure. No. And then when it was like original screenplay, I'm like, that's interesting that they like, not only, I'm curious to see how well like all the dialogue and the characters are all written in there, but like the fact that they added these bits of narration, I wonder the choice behind that. Cause it's like, it was so by design.
He was talking about that
yeah?
He like, yeah, that he wanted to explain everybody's intimacy without having to show the context of who they are because of the limitations. Like he was talking about, he's like we didn't have enough time to stretch their like backstories together, and he was kind of explaining how he didn't want to have the characters because he's like it's a almost exposition dump 24/7. The whole movie is just them talking about their friendship and who they are and why they're together, and then she's getting involved in that. And so like he's like, well, to show their whole deep history, having a narrator come through and like cover those gaps.
It is. It's
like it makes it better than having the characters constantly all the time talking about themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
To explain who they are.
Well, and like I said about the environment, there'll be some things like they're talking like, had they been here 10 years earlier, this is the scene they would have saw on this road. And it's like, it just kind of gives a sense of weight. But it also does it with the characters where they're like, when he goes and pees at his house, he always uses his foot to lift up the seat. And then he does it later. He's lifting it with his foot. It's just interesting, like, it is a way to show, like, history and intimacy with these characters, other than, because, like, you get that they have history, and you get that they are, very close just based on the characters' performances and stuff, and dialogue, but it's like these little bits, like, kind of add a little bit more, and I really appreciate that. Because it didn't have to.
The narration.
It didn't have to.
No, I would have, this movie without narration would have been a solid, like, 2.5, 3, 3 stars. It would have been, like, solid, fine. It's kind of like, it'd feel like, it's raunchy, it's fun. But with the narration, you're like,
a lot of scenes hit way harder with it.
Hit so hard. Oh my god. When they would, that especially too, when they're talking about how, like, what they do behind each other's backs, and they'll never they'll never tell each other, that they do that with the toilet seat and stuff. And it's like, like the intimacy that you get through those, where it's just like, and it's striking too, because all the audio drops and you just get that narration, and his voice is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Without the narration, I would have. I'm like, I should give this, like,
I still think it. I still think it
it
totally would have worked. But yeah, something about it really, like, made these extra scenes, like, hit a little bit harder. Like, especially, like, more of the meditative moments, like all the bits with them on the beach, when they meet that fisherman out of the blue, and they kind of just, like, build, like, kind of spend a day with the fisherman and his family. But then the narration's like, in a couple years, he, like, loses his job. And he, like, dude, it just feels so real, but you just feel so melancholy for the time that was. Like, you look back on this as, like, this summer that was, like, that's the summer I became an adult. I grew up, I had a weird three-way, but also, that was when Choi was a fisherman, or whatever the fuck his name is. But
I know, right? When that guy, and that was, dude, that's so good too, because it's like, it explains what's happening, like, in Mexico and Greater Mexico and everything.
Yeah.
At that time too, politically.
It's like the late '90s. Well, the fact they keep running into, like, the police, like, stopping cars, searching cars, and stuff.
Because there was a big. I'm not familiar with the politics, but there was, like,
you're not like a Mexican geopolitical. Yeah. You don't know about the political state of Mexico, 25 years ago.
Yeah, that was my minor, so I don't know too much about it. I can't remember quite everything about it. But yeah, it's like the political context of it it'd probably be even more impactful. Like, that's how come this film is I don't know about right now per se, but at the time it was the highest grossing film from Mexico.
Yeah, I was telling my friend at work today from Mexico. I was telling her she should watch it. I said, yeah, you should give it a watch, because I'm like, I want to hear more of my, like, Mexican friends' opinions. That's why I wanted Pablo.
I know, Pablo.
He fucking was born in Mexico and has been to Mexico several times. I've never been to Mexico, but I have now. Thank you, Alfonso Correon. Like,
yeah.
I was also a young boy transported to Mexico, to the beaches, where I too became a man. Yeah, that narration, especially at the end, it's just brutal, where they're just like, and then they hadn't seen each other in a year, and then they talked at a coffee shop before racing away, and then it's like they never saw each other again, and you're just like, fuck.
Dude, it's so, yeah, it just hits so real. It feels, it's so relatable, and even like, I don't know, I mean the gratuitous sex. It's like that is
quite gratuitous.
Titillating.
It is.
It's it's supposed to be like.
Well, it's raw. It starts right in it. That's why I got the kids vibe too. It's like the raw camera, and he's like, "You taste like butterscotch," you know.
Yeah,
basically.
Hell yeah, baby. Yeah, dude. Kids is such a good movie, but this does have like the same thing like there, and I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like it opens up like pretty intimate and pretty racist. So like, all right, I was kind of like, let's see how this is going, and then apparently there's a lot more. Travis was telling me like. It works well for the film because of their like they're homophobic together. It's got like that Chasing Amy's kind of vibe.
That was the other movie I was gonna say had the vibe, and not only because the weird three-way sex triangle thing, but just the two friends that are just like it does have that vibe.
They're super like rampantly like homophobic, and they're always saying
really,
like slurs to each other.
All that shit they say really works for the characters because it's like. They're always posturing. They're always kind of putting it on for one another and like showing how juvenile they are. And then it's like by the end of it, they aren't saying shit like that. And then the one comment they do make about their friend being gay, and he's like, "Oh, he's happy. He has a boyfriend and everything, even though he got kicked out by his family or whatever." It's just kind of nice to show like you really do feel like they've grown for probably for better, but it's just like through all the heartache. Because it's brutal watching these two people who are, like, supposedly best friends, like, it's watching them slowly, their relationship kind of dissolve. And it's, like, not even because of this woman is in between them. It's not even that, but it takes her to show, like, all the lies and betrayal that they've had each other this whole time. Like, it's like, oh, what's their gang called? Like Cheriones or something? I don't even know.
Oh, what is it when they're when they have their manifesto?
They have their like high school gang and everyone, and they're like, we don't bang each other's girlfriends, and we're always friends, and blah blah blah. And then it's like you find out they have the whole puff about like, oh, I banged your girlfriend, and it's like, oh, it's fine because I banged your girlfriend, and they got in a huge fight, and then it's like, oh, never mind, I did it a lot of times, and that's like the title comes from. He's like, I also fucked your mom, and it's like, you don't know if that's true. I mean, I don't know if that's true.
No. But I do
in the
enjoy,
context of that moment, like I feel like they're just like they're both so heartbroken, but they're just drinking.
Their
and having
insecurities.
Fun,
yeah, their insecurities come out so strongly with that, and like because it's like, and it's all like off camera too. When he's like, he spent the whole night like begging for forginness,
Yeah,
and then
he's like,
when he has the scene at the car,
on your knees, and it's like we don't like, see that, but it's like he made him get on his knees.
Right. They explain it at the car when he makes him do it, and then it's like, and it's almost like whether or not if they even did sleep with each other's girlfriends, it's like that insecurity from like, oh, if he cheated on me, I have to have like cheated on
it's insecurity, and it's like trying to even it out like they always have been, like because they're like best friends, but also kind of rivals, and it's like it gets to a point, it's like and he says, and your mom too, which is like the title of the movie, right? Tu Mamá También basically is like, and also your mom or whatever. And it's, even if that's not true, which it very well could be, it's just like he's doing it to hurt him at a point. But they're like, I don't know. It's sad because they're like just super wasted and they're laughing it off and they turn it into a fun thing. And it's like, oh, the hurtful things you said before. And it's like they all just want to feel that vulnerability, and so when they all come together at the end, and then they just like drift their separate ways after having such this supposedly close bond, dissolve over the course of this road trip. You know what I mean? But growing because of it.
And that's what I like too about Stand By Me. Yeah. It's got that where it's like it's just kind of like you can go through these moments that like you remember forever, but you just I don't know. Friendships can drift. You just have that. And it definitely gave me like at the end of that movie, man, I was really feeling some kind of way. You
cry?
No, I didn't know. I didn't cry, dude. I can't cry. I don't know how. So it's like
tear ducts.
I've never cried a day in my life. But freaking at the end of this movie though, I like when if they didn't have the coming of age scene where they actually like explore each other, I would have I don't know, it hits so good. It's like all of their like all of their homophobia and everything about their like insecurities and everything.
The
and,
three
like,
of them dancing together, drunk on the tequila, like at that little bar on the beach or whatever. It's like, it's. There's so many emotions tied up into it by that point in the movie. It's like a really great scene because it's like, you do have this like sense of lust and this sense of like youth and passion and freedom, but also like this weird sense of like sorrow and loneliness and like forlorn, like I don't know, there's just like a lot even in their expressions, like really caught up in that moment. It's really great.
You know what's cool? You know how they got that scene? They literally for 2 nights in a row, they made them go to that bar and get drunk, like straight up get like blackout drunk 2 nights in a row, doing their scenes, like just getting there and just like riffing,
like rehearsing and
like,
stuff, like kind of,
yeah,
but
like
drunk.
rehearsing and we're right and doing it like super natural. And so a lot of it is just improv. It just
makes
comes
sense.
comes from them doing it and being the characters.
I like that he
and then so when they
keeps
shot
referring to the guy, the Choi or whatever the fisherman's name is. He's like, "Hey, Choi, masturbation's cool, right?" Like,
cool, right? Yeah. How they,
he's like,
everything.
"Hey, to the clitoris, hey."
To the clitoris, dude. To the clitoris is so great. That's got to be like, that should be the name of our.
I want to just get it on a shirt, whatever
episode.
it is in Spanish. Get it on a.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
When he's like the clitoris, it's always hiding. It's like, who wants to be a friend if you're always hiding? That's so funny. Oh, dude. And like, I totally like. It's funny. I remember my parents watching this. And,
do you?
Like,
I made.
Yeah. No wonder.
That's funny. I made a joke on the Reddit when I posted it because I didn't know anything about this movie other than it was sort of raunchy. Because I mean, even the poster looks kind of raunchy,
Right. But I did not expect.
I did not expect it to be as like this is.
I thought it'd be like lovers, and that's like that's about it.
I mean, like,
I didn't realize it was gonna be like straight up like
there's like a
slap.
there's a lot of full frontal nudity and like some sex scenes. So, but I made the joke in the Reddit post, like, should I watch it with my parents? And I'll just read a couple of Reddits while we're here. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's where we're at.
So are you feeling it now? Says, I love this movie so much, but watching it with my parents, and I feel like I should go back and comment on that now because there's a lot of movies I wouldn't watch with my parents, and I was like, this is probably like I wouldn't do that. But there's like so much. Sex is like such a point of this movie. Like, it's such a thing of.
Right. I mean, it's like it's all their conversations are revolved.
Huge amount of it. They talk about their dicks, which is it's like, I don't know. It feels so. It feels so natural, but it's like every time I see that in a movie, normally I'm like, nobody talks like that. Like, I don't know anyone that's just like that talks that much detail about, like, I don't know anyone that horny. You know what I mean? That's just like constantly like, yeah, tell me every detail. What was the pussy like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. That's
in real life.
Yeah, bud, I know. We don't. Yeah, it's like, we don't
even.
Really talk
I mean,
that.
I don't know. It's like
even joking. I feel like there's this like.
But
this
it
definitely
felt real. Like, I
point.
felt like these guys do for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Another opponent says, I'm not the biggest fan of Corleone, but I'm glad to see a Mexican film on the sub. Very excited to see this. It's been on my parents' DVD collection since I was a kid. Liar.
Hey, pal. Hey, pal. You don't like Corleone? Like, have you ever seen a movie about him?
I do think I did comment on there after that. It's because I do think we both talked shit on Gravity when it came out.
Well, dude, Gravity's not a bad.
I want to watch it again.
I don't like it.
I want to watch it again. I saw it in theaters, and it was definitely like, well, that was visually cool. Right. But that's all I had going for it, which I feel like Alfonso Cuarón is so much more than that. But he can be visually stunning and also tell like a personal, intimate, engaging, character-driven story.
Well, I think he pushed himself.
Coming off Children,
he tried to just do something.
And that's what I appreciate. It's like his movies. He's not a one-trick pony, and I'm excited to see what he does next, because it's like every movie he does is like, you can see the similarities in his films, like in his style, what he wants to talk about, the way he shoots or whatever. But they're all quite different from one another.
Yeah.
And you could see, again, you could kind of see his growth as a filmmaker. I want to watch a couple of his early ones, even though.
Well, it's so funny that he did Little Princess because, like, growing up,
I remember
used to think that movie was dope.
I never watched it, but I think I watched it as a
loved
kid,
it.
but I don't remember it.
Well, dude, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since I was, probably, 10 years old. But it's like, I remember watching it a lot when I was younger, and it being, like, fucking sick. And so, it'd be definitely worth a rewatch. You got any more Reddits?
Nope. This is definitely going to be an episode I feel like not a lot of people are going to listen to, because even though it won the vote, which I'm thankful won the vote, because for once, it's a movie that neither of us have seen. It's a foreign film of a director we already know we like. And neither of us have seen it, and we both really liked it. So I'm glad to have seen it. I just hope some of the people actually watch it. You know what I mean? I hope if we can get anyone else who's never seen this movie to watch it, then I'm happy. Or come listen to this and tell us what's up. But because I'm gonna go and just be like, you should watch this movie. But also, I joke, don't watch it with your parents.
No, really, no, don't.
I mean, unless you want to see just how uncomfortable you can feel. I don't know. Unless it's a challenge. In which case, if you do watch this with your parents, come tell us about it. I'm curious. coldestedmyknowledge@gmail.com. How weird was it?
Yeah. What's your relationship with your parents, and are you comfortable to watch this movie with them? I probably maybe could. I don't know. I don't think I've watched some like movies that deal with sex, but never it being the like kind of the plot.
I've watched some weird movies with my mom, and it's weird because my mom does not watch movies very often. But we've gone every once in a while in my life. She's like, "Oh, I want to hang out with you, and you love movies. Let's go to a movie." And I'm like, "Okay, great." And so we go to a movie that neither of us have seen, and it's like we went and saw like Tropic Thunder together. But the last movie we saw together was Phantom Thread, which
nice.
And
that's
is
like,
not
not gratuitous.
It's not gratuitous. It is have some weird sex things, but nothing compared to this. This is a Disney show, but it's just funny that it's just like my mom. It's like that's just not her kind of movie at all, and she's like, "That was fun."
Right. It is. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that she's happy to.
I remember she took me.
Give it a try.
She took me to 8 Mile when it came out, really randomly, and like neither of us really liked hip hop or anything. So it was a really weird choice, but I remember like I was kind of too young, and there were some weird sex scenes in that with like Brittany Murphy and stuff. I remember being uncomfortable. There's a lot of movies I would not watch with my mom.
Yeah,
definitely not.
No, I remember seeing that with my parents too, and like it was like, or maybe it might have just been my dad. I don't know, but the Brittany Murphy part was kind of like, it was like, ugh, lasted a little bit longer than he wanted it to.
Yeah.
I don't know, but then again, I've seen a lot of like movies with my dad, so
yeah.
We would watch this together, and it would be
the
cool
fact that it was on Pablo's parents' DVD shelf, it's like he should go borrow it from.
Right.
Or just don't be just join our fucking Patreon. I got it on the Plex, baby.
Know, yeah. If you come on the Plex, you get the movies for a small fee. And you get all four. They're streaming. But do you want to do Travis's message?
I so do. Let me pull it up. In the meantime, do you got a money minute for me? Because you did say about 2 mil.
Sure do, pal. It was $2 million to shoot, and then it grossed $33 million.
Wow.
So that's a fancy number, man. That's a big. It was huge.
That's a big. Yeah, that's a great profit turnaround for them. Good for them, because I think this movie did well, like internationally, like it was an international hit, which is kind of surprising, honestly, because it's like, I honestly feel like it was the perfect time for like kind of riskier movies like this. Like I don't know, like I feel like nowadays it wouldn't do as good, just because it's like I don't know if I feel like we're more puritanical as a country than ever. In a way.
I don't know. I mean, I don't. We got. So I was gonna say
know.
if you like. Well, we'll get into that in a minute, because it's like, I know what you're saying, but I think that this has been part of cinema since cinema. You know, sex is a story that's old as time. You know?
True. Well, I know, but
one of the
you know how
biggest-
we are in this country where it's just like, you know, my parents won't let my brother just watch something that has a side boob in it, but he can play Mortal Kombat and rip out someone's spine, or as much gratuitous violence, but swearing is off the table too. It's like, if there's swearing or sex, forget about it, but if there's, you know, gratuitous violence, whatever.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the Bible's got a chokehold on us. So.
Sure does.
Even though that's violent as fuck, dog, with a lot of post pounding, dude. Like, I want the Bible, the good old Bible, baby, with that sex.
This,
He got Travis's.
yeah, you see it right on my face. It is a long one, so I hope you can hear it.
Let's go for it. Rock me.
I
Amadeus.
doubt you can, but let's find out.
Hey guys, I'd like to start off by saying Tu Mamá También has been on my watch list for years. Yet like other movies we've watched in the film club, I've passed on it so many times before. And I have to say it was worth the wait. That's why this podcast / film club is so good. It gives you the opportunity to see the movies you've put off and to see the ones you maybe have never heard of. Plus, rewatching some greats. For me, Tu Mamá También made such an impact because I know many of the places in the movie. In fact, the closing restaurant scene was shot at a restaurant I've eaten at a bunch of times, and the protest scene was shot a couple blocks from where I normally stay at. Their journey from Mexico City to Boca del Cielo was filmed driving from Mexico City to Oaxaca, a path I've taken numerous times. Even when this movie premiered in Mexico, I remember seeing posters everywhere for it. Last thing is, I used to wear the exact same t-shirt Tinoch was wearing before they went on their trip. Throughout the movie, I was on a journey of my own down memory lane. So thank you to those who voted for this one. My question today is, not including horror or scary movies, which country do you guys think puts out the best foreign movies? Thanks.
Oh, dude.
That's a tough.
That is a that's
Travis,
a heavy.
That was a
question.
nice sentiment because I feel exactly the same way. I love this film club because I'm the same way. This movie's been casually on my watch list, but there's so many movies that this like kind of gives me that extra push I need to watch. And I know I shouldn't need a push to watch movies I want to watch, but you know, obviously life circumstances and it's easier to not to make decisions. But this pushes me to watch movies for better or for worse, and most often than not for better. You know, so thank you, good sir. But dude, I don't know, because horror movies is usually what you think of, because there's some great international horror movies. I mean, fucking Japanese horror movies, French horror movies, bro.
Well,
like French extremist horror movies are so good.
I think the biggest influence, just because historically you're looking at like you know, Eastern European films. Those are typically big films that we get. French films, those kind of influenced a lot of the storytelling aspect. But I mean, clearly, film is global, and we get them from a lot of places, and so it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just whatever the cultural, like, you know, flow is of that time. Because like when Parasite came out, Korean films, you know, and Korean
that would
foreigns
probably
were,
be
like,
my
popping
choice, because
off.
it's like, I think that South Korea, their movies have always, I think they make the best like thrillers, but especially like in the last 10 years, not only thrillers, because I mean, obviously I fell in love with Park Chan-wook like forever ago, but like in the last 10 years I feel like there's like the Korean films have this weird sentiment between being like dark and serious but also like pretty funny, and it's mixed together in such a way that I've not seen replicated anywhere else, like with Parasite obviously, for example, but even with like The Wailing, like we were talking about The Wailing not too long ago.
Yeah, it does have. It's got like slapsticky parts.
The
but then
Wailing
it's, like,
cracks
straight
you up,
like
but it's
horror.
like
It's
horrific.
Yeah.
The Wailing's a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I'm trying to think like
I
other
think
than
personally,
horror elements.
Personally, I think I like a lot of Japanese
I would say
films,
Japanese. You get,
but that's like drama straight up.
Yeah.
Like just straight drama. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, film is all around us.
Yeah, I mean the French obviously make pretty great movies. It's like I remember, but there was the time when because obviously French make great horror movies, but also when like Amelie was super popular. I know you remember that. It did
right,
come in
of
waves.
course,
We were
yeah.
getting way more like in America, like way more French movies were being popular, especially like
that
good love movies.
Let's tie this movie into Silence Asleep. That's by a French director, and it's got the guy. I feel so bad, but yeah, Garcia Bernal.
He is, isn't he?
He's the main guy in Silence Asleep, and that's directed by Michel Gondry. So it all comes together where film is cool. And what's cool though is
film is cool. That's our tagline.
So, film is cool.
Getting that on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
film is cool.
Yeah, Alfonso was living in New York when he made this film, and he wanted to do it in Mexico. He was like, he wanted to get away from Hollywood.
Has to be, dude. Like this.
He was, yeah.
This movie
this
could not
is-
exist any other way. Like,
No, this would definitely not be if you showed a producer this movie, they'd be like, I'm scared. I don't. They'd be like, what target audience? This isn't for 18 to 35-year-old
I know.
males.
You think you're gonna get?
I guess it is.
Yeah, but you think you're gonna get an American
but not
remake
really.
of this anytime soon? Not fucking likely.
Yeah, right.
And you couldn't.
No, right, and I don't. It's like it wouldn't work. I mean, it's funny. My film, if you like this, watch this, would be blue is what is it? Blue is the warmest color. And have you seen?
No,
that?
I know what movie you're talking about, but I've not seen it.
What is that? Is that French? I think.
I feel like it's French.
I saw it in blue is the warmest color. Yeah, it's. I mean, I assume it's French. Everyone's like.
Seems pretty French, dude.
Yeah, it's got to be French as hell. But that was a movie that I saw, and I remember being like, it's got like sex is, that it's pretty much the climax, no pun intended. But it's got a fuck ton of like, sexy mood in it, and like charged adolescence, and they, she coming of age, and she discovers herself, and it's fantastic. And I remember seeing it in a theater like almost by myself. I think it was like the Broadway, and I was like, what is going on? It's hella gratuitous.
Yeah, I remember when that came out.
It's also foreign. You don't really get a lot of in America. If you do gratuitous sex, it's got to be funny.
It's true.
It's like the only way you can really get around that. It can't be intimate 'cause it's too scary for kids.
Yeah, either that or it's shocking.
Oh, sure.
Or it's something. Yeah, it's like a shocking thing.
Yeah, it's trauma. Right. We love our trauma here.
Sure do. I'd say we're built on it. I would say, obviously, and we've made this comparison before, but I think Kids is the best. And like, if you like this, watch Kids.
It definitely has the
Kids
same energy,
it has the same energy, but two totally different emotions attached to it. I think like Kids is the American version of this, which is much more. It's much more hostile. It's much more aggressive. It's not. There's like very little growing. It's very like like they don't grow.
Kids is just tragic.
Yeah, it's tragic. They don't grow and become better people or their friendship. Like it's all sort of terrible. Like everyone's terrible, but it's definitely gave me same vibes. But also again, there are completely different movie, but that friendship kind of sex dynamic and like questioning that it's chasing Amy, like we mentioned. I did think of that. I was literally like, this is sort of like Kids meets Chasing Amy, like the heart of Chasing Amy, because Kids does not have a heart, but this Tu Mamá También has a heart, like this movie does, and I think so does Chasing Amy. I think it's like those two movies put together with a road trip movie in Mexico. It's pretty close. Man.
Damn. Kids. It's funny. Kids had a 1.5 million budget, and it only grossed 7 million.
Yeah.
So but still, that's actually better than I thought it would do. Because Kids is definitely like, Larry Clark is not a household name. Or
No,
he's not even.
We were really into his raw style earlier. Then he didn't do much with it. Like his last couple movies have been, like I feel like he's getting too old to like film young kids having gratuitous sex that is just not it's not charming anymore.
I just feel like it's not the story he wants to tell.
I don't know. We'll see. I wonder what he's up to, honestly, because he's made some pretty great movies in late 90s, early 2000s. But I feel like
Yeah.
those type of, like, even Gaspar Noé's movies, or Noé, however you say it.
Yeah.
His movies are a little bit more experimental, but got similar vibes in some ways, but also much more mean-spirited as well. Yeah. What was your favorite part? And then we'll button it up.
God, I don't know, dude. There's so many beautiful shots. I mean, I think all the car stuff is gonna be, memorable forever. That is what I look forward to when, he makes a movie. So, God, I don't know, dude. It's hard. It's like every time the narration came in, that would I would pause to I would want to really focus on it because I knew that was going to tie in a lot, and it always came in the perfect spots too, where it's not distracting from the movie at all, and it just all it did was enrich, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, if mine wasn't the spunk, the close up of the jizz going in the
spunk
pool,
hitting in.
If it wasn't that, it was probably either I like the scene between the two of them when they swim in the leaf covered pool.
Actually, that's funny. I was thinking that too. I'm like all the water shots were
really
sick.
When it's starting, their relationship starts. That's when the cracks start showing the most. And then, but I think really at the end during the narration, I don't even remember what the narration fully was, but Louisa, when she's by herself and she decides to stay, and she's going out swimming, and they're like, okay, and then they go home. It's when it's wrapping it all up. That was a moment I realized for her character, her character growth and who she is. Okay, she's staying. What is that like? What does that mean for her? And she's changing her life and choosing to be free and swim in the ocean. And turns out this place that they made up, God's mouth or whatever, is is a true place where she can have. And then that scene even hits even harder, where you're like, oh, okay, she's gonna stay there and have start a new chapter of her life. And then it hits even harder right after, when you find out she fucking died, and she's died. And the fact that she knew she was dying too, I think is just as important than she died, because it'd be totally different if she just died out of nowhere and she didn't know. But the fact that she knew she was dying really kind of gives that scene, and all the other scenes beforehand, even more weight to them. So
I mean, I love it. I love there's so much about it. And I love oh my god, dude, it's so, when they go to that restaurant, and it's just it's just so cool. I don't know, and they're talking to people and getting food from them, and that old man comes in with a can for cash, and I love how they always give money away. They always.
I wish I know it does make me wish that's why I want to talk to someone who is more familiar, because it's I want to be in an area like that. They're constantly stopping. There's they're getting stopped by the quinceañera, people in the road. There's a funeral. It's very, it very much seems the culture around them is I don't know. It's nice.
I mean, no, I think you're getting a colorful picture of every single person that exists, and I'm glad that they didn't. The whole time I was afraid that they were gonna go there was gonna be violence, or there was gonna be something the police, or something. But there was
the underlining threat of possibly, because you did feel the tension a lot sometimes. Are they gonna get stopped? But then it never comes in that way, and it's good that it does. But that just shows that it's they're invincible. There's this youth. It's they barely even talk it up. They're smoking weed, and they're it's fine. Just put it out for a sec. You know what I mean? While they pass the cops, it's no big deal. And it very easily could have been turned into this whole huge fucking dramatic thing. It's Sicario all of a sudden or something.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, if you haven't watched this movie and you're listening to this, sorry, we just ruined the whole thing, but you should check it out.
but go watch it yourself. Come back.
Watch
if
it.
You liked our points,
yeah, watch it. It's a very good movie, so highly recommend. You got anything else?
Oh no, man. I'm
cool. Thanks for listening. We
got our Patreon for everyone out there. Kylie Landon, Thomas,
Yeah, thank you,
Moms.
Go to.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks everyone that comments on the Reddit. Thank you everyone for voting. I appreciate people putting their inputs on these movies. I did it again, Jordan. I did it.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you're.
I specifically, because I did it late. I had a crazy weekend, and sorry I didn't put up the ramble like I said I was going to. But I did the poll late again, but I set it. I swear to God, I set it for 2 days, so it would be done by today. So there's still 10 hours left on the poll at the time of recording. But Midsummer's got the biggest lead, but it's only ahead by 9. So
Ooh, okay, it's a
talented
game. 10 hours.
So next week it's probably gonna be Midsummer, and if not Midsummer, it might be Talented Mr. Ripley. So we'll see. One of those movies. Yeah, that's the second up. So join us next week for one of those. Both excellent movies. So yeah, and thanks for listening. Check out the Letterbox if you want to see what else we're watching. Listen to our ramble.
If you want to be like Travis, our good buddy, and call in, dial 801-613-1501.
Cool.
We'll hear your thoughts. You can speak to us with your voice.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.